Hello.
Hi.
Welcome.
Wait on, what did you open then?
A PowerPoint. Oh,
No,
chocolate.
Fucking not your
This
PowerPoint.
chocolate is delicious.
No, I wanted the gaiety.
Double choc brownie milk chocolate Daryl Lee.
Open the gaiety.
You're a gaiety. I got gaiety and mint slices because they were like 2 for $8 or something. Hello, welcome to Mainly Murder with Meg and Mum. I am Meg. That is Mum over there.
All right, don't need me here.
Why?
Because you just answered, you just went mainly Murder with Meg
Yeah,
and
you took too long.
Murger. Mainly Murger.
Any?
Who's Pamela Smart when she's at home?
Well, I'm about to fucking tell you.
Well, then don't put stuff up on the wall that gives it away.
Her name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pamela Smart.
Pamela Smart.
Was she smart?
She was Pamela. Pam. Pam.
Wasn't that the mum on, oh, fuck. James Corden and...
I don't know. Nola and Stacey? No.
Yeah. I think I was Stacey. I was going to say Ned and Stacey. That's the other show. What is
Isn't
it?
it Ned and Stacey?
No, Ned and Stacey's the one with what's her name from Will and Grace?
Are you sure?
Oh, fucking hell.
Ned and Stacey sounds right. Anyway, Pam was also the receptionist in the office.
Didn't watch that.
Pam Beasley. Trevin
Deborah
Stacey.
Messing was who?
Trevin Stacey.
No.
It's something in Stacey.
It's going to kill us now.
Bill and Stacey.
No.
It's probably not even Stacey.
Oh, shut up, fuckwit. Gavin
Gavin
and Stacey.
Wow. That has
I'm
nothing
sure
to
the
do with
mum-
Pamela Smart.
I'm sure the mum name was Pam. Yeah, it was Pam Shipman.
Okay.
Because every time he used to come in, he'd go, Pamela. Anyway, glad we sorted
Wow,
that out.
that was great. Anyway, so for today we're talking about Pamela
So if
Smart.
today's thing goes for 10 minutes longer than it needed to. Sorry.
So Pamela Ann Wodjas, W-O-J-A-S. That was her maiden name.
W-O-J-A-S.
W-O-J-A-S. Was born on the 16th of August, 1967 in Miami, Florida. Her parents were John and Linda Wodjas. Pam had a sister, Beth, who was 6 years older than her, and a younger brother, John, who was 3 years younger than her. The family started off in...
It's a big age gap.
Well, maybe they're accidents. The family started off in Miami, and when Pam was in the 8th grade, they moved to Derry, New Hampshire, which is like Boston, kind of like New York, up there, compared to Florida.
Correct.
The Wodjas were an upper middle class family. John and Linda worked hard to give their children luxuries that they didn't have, like dance classes, piano lessons, gymnastics, and they also travelled all over the world. Although they had a pretty good life, John always believed that his children should learn the lesson of hard work, and Pam had a job since she was 13 years old. Pam attended Pickerton Academy, where she was a cheerleader and the class president during her sophomore year. She was involved with the Winter Carnival. She was a Spanish tutor, on the honor roll, and the students against drunk and drugged driving.
Mm.
During high school, she apparently loved being the center of attention. Many of her school friends remembered once during a football game, they couldn't find her.
Sorry.
Bless you.
I felt that was coming out and there was biscuit in my mouth.
Ew. Bless your little cotton
about
socks.
where I was going to spit the biscuit.
Ew.
Oh, God. Last night I was watching TV and I reckon I sneezed about 8 times in a row.
Oh, God.
The cats just kept looking at me as if to go, what the fuck are you doing?
Lady, can you shut up?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. So what'd she do?
Many of her school friends remembered once during a football game
that's right.
that they couldn't find her, only for her to ride in on the back of a mechanical camel.
Why?
I don't know. An old classmate said that she thought that Pam was insecure. The old friend said, I don't think she thought she was better than everyone else, but she wanted people to think that she was.
Okay. Interesting.
Also, during her high school days, Pam got a reputation for promiscuity,
Oh, little flues.
which led her to gaining the nickname Wham Bam Thank You Pam.
Oh, well done, kids. We'll pay that one. That's good. Wham, bam, thank you, Pam.
Wham Bam Thank You Pam. So Florida State University, where I think skipped a whole thing. So
That's
she
a wham,
went
bam, thank you, Pam.
Wham Bam Thank You Pam.
Wham, bam, thank you, Pam.
After high school, she went to Florida State University, where she got her degree in communications. So she lived up in New Hampshire, but she's decided to go back
Back
to uni.
Florida.
Yeah.
Florida.
Pam's dream was to become a television reporter.
Okay. She looks like a news reporter
Yeah.
in that picture.
Yeah. While Pam visited home in New Hampshire over Christmas in 1986, and while attending a New Year's Eve party, she met Gregory Smart.
Greg. Just look at Greg. That's not Greg. That's a woman. Is that her?
That's Greg.
What?
What caught Pam's eyes?
That's not a bloke.
Shut the fuck up.
Looks like it's got a bow on its head.
That's a hat.
Hang on, let me have a look at this
It's got
picture.
hair.
I got to get closer up. The light from the window.
He's got big hair. That's a dude.
Oh my god! I thought this bit here was a bow. She's got all curly hair, and I thought, oh fuck, he's
Got a bow on his head. No, that's a hat on his head.
I thought it was meant to be her. I didn't think that. Oh,
No, this is Greg.
Oh, okay. Looks. Yeah,
What caught Pam's eye was Greg's
fucking
hair.
nothing. Yeah. Okay.
She said that he reminded her of Bon Jovi. That's probably a really bad picture. He's not that bad looking.
No, but nothing like Bon Jovi. I was going to say he probably looked more like one of the boys from the Brady Bunch. The little one, the younger brother, Bobby, wasn't it?
Between the party and Pam returning to college, they went out on a few dates. And when she did return to college, they exchanged letters and phone calls.
Oh, how romantic.
During this time, Greg was dating Pam and another girl at the same time.
Oh, Greg.
But eventually decided on
Marsha.
just dating Pam.
Okay.
With Greg being in New Hampshire and Pam being in Florida, the pair would be traveling... Fucking hell. Get our shit together.
Well, you wanted me to come up dying, so I'm here dying.
With Greg being in New Hampshire and Pam being in Florida, the pair would be traveling back and forth all the time to see each other. In 1987, Greg decided that he was just going to move to Florida to be with Pam.
How romantic, Greg.
During college, Pam worked as a part-time clerk for the Florida Department of Commerce and as a news intern for the WCTV Channel 6, which was the CBS affiliate in Tallahassee.
Okay. Tallahassee for the Hassie.
On Thursday nights, Pam was a DJ for the school radio station.
Please continue. What are you doing? What's going on?
What are you laughing at?
I was doing me DJ.
On Thursday nights, Pam was a DJ for the school radio station WVSS. She hosted a 2-hour show by herself called Metal Madness and called herself the Maiden of Metal.
Okay.
Pam loved metal music. She got into the position of the radio station's promotions director, where she helped set up a number of shows. Greg and Pam ended up getting an apartment together in Florida.
Lived in sin. Oh, see, they got matching hair. Oh, she doesn't look half as nice there. She looks nicer as she got older.
I've got other pictures of Pam. That's probably not a very flattering photo.
No, it's not a very nice, flattering picture at all. You didn't do her any justice whatsoever.
Well, there wasn't a lot of photos of these two together as being young. So Greg's parents knew of their living arrangements, but Pam's didn't. Every time her parents would come over to visit, Greg would have to take or hide all of his stuff.
Oh my God.
And pretend that he didn't live
Piss
there.
off.
In January 1988, Greg proposed to Pam and she said yes. Obviously by the name of her last name.
Did he check with her parents first?
Greg also decided that now he had to get serious about a career, and after speaking with his dad, he decided to get into the insurance business.
Oh, wow.
Greg was studying to do the exam so that he was allowed to sell insurance in Florida, and he got a haircut. He got a job. He got a job and a haircut.
Was that important? Was it? And he got a haircut.
I thought I wrote something in reference to you because you say that all the time. Get a job and a haircut.
Get a job and a real haircut.
Well, that's what Greg did. He got a job and a haircut. As a graduation present, Greg got Pam a tiny little Shih Tzu puppy, which they named Halen after Van Halen.
Yeah, figured that one.
But life wasn't as picture perfect.
Oh, no.
They were both described as being leaders and not followers, and both loved being the center of attention.
Oh, shit. That would cause a bit of chaos.
Well, it fucking did. They would make little snarky comments at each other and have lots of little arguments. There was a story from a friend of the couple that they had gone out to a bar where the waitresses wore tight t-shirts and hot pink shorts.
Oh, bit of a early Hooters, was it?
Oh, well, yeah, I think something like that. Pam and Greg were sniping at each other, and the night ended when Greg had a mouthful of beer. He turned to Pam and squirted a stream of beer into her face.
Oh, you'd be on the floor fucking unconscious. You did that to me, you prick.
On the
Fuck off, you dirty little shit.
On the 7th of May, 1989, Pam and Greg got married in the same church.
Wait! What?
They were fucking chaotic, but they got married.
Oh my God. Nah. That whole... There was a thing on Instagram or whatever the other day about some bird that filed for divorce because he pushed the cake in her face. You know how they do that stupid shit at wedding, which just is so disgusting sometimes. People go overboard.
Yeah, but it's funny. You get the little boop on the nose.
Yeah, a little bit, or, on their nose or on
not
their
like
cheek or whatever.
Headbutting the cake.
But yeah, apparently he pushed her face into the cake on her wedding day. It was all over her. And she filed for divorce the next day. It was just
I'd be like, approved.
That's what I mean. Spitting your fucking beer in my face. I wouldn't be marrying him.
They got married in the same church that her parents had got married in 1960.
Oh, God.
She looks really old there.
Yes, she does.
There's not a lot, like there's some photos that she looks really nice.
She looked nice in the first one that you had up.
Yeah, well, that's her wedding. Greg's mum, Judy, recalled...
I had that hairpiece similar to that,
You
didn't I?
did. It reminded me of that.
Yeah.
Your story doesn't end up like this.
All right. Truth be known, I really killed your father. I'll admit it now. Actually, we have proof otherwise, so don't even bother fucking investigating that story.
I think it was the alcoholism.
I think it was. His liver and kidney went, we'll get him first. I'm like, all right.
It's been 50 years.
You do the job.
So Greg's mum, Judy, recalled that before their wedding, Pam's parents called her and were concerned that Greg wouldn't be able to give Pam the things in life that she deserved.
What, like beer in the face?
Well, yeah. After they returned from their honeymoon in Bermuda, Judy Smart, Greg's mum, came over to their condo. Pam then went through with her new mother-in-law each wedding card and how much money the person had given them, making it really obvious that the people on her side had given more money than the people on his side.
Okay.
And eventually he was like, Greg stepped in, was like, that's enough. Like, stop.
That's enough.
So now I'll tell you about Greg.
You know who he looks like? To older people that would be listening, Leif Garrett. Google that on your phone. Have a look picture of Leif Garrett.
He looks like someone else.
Leif.
I would say another person in this story looks like him.
Oh, okay.
He
aged.
Well,
that's an older picture.
He aged like fucking milk, that guy.
Have a look at a younger picture.
Yeah, a younger picture. He looks nice.
Looks like him. That's why I was looking at it first going, oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's who he reminded me of. Anyway.
Yeah, that guy aged like fucking milk. Like, Jesus Christ. No offense, Leif.
He was eating a bit at the time.
So they were going through their money. Greg was the second son of Bill and Judy Smart. He was described by co-workers that he would give you the shirt off his back and was always ready to help anybody. He was also known for having an excellent sense of humour and always laughing. He was also described as having restless energy and a happy-go-lucky lifestyle. Greg in his younger days was well known for throwing parties if his parents were out of town.
Oh, of course he was.
Like the party that him and Pam met at.
Oh, Greg.
These parties were described as...
Crazy.
Unbelievable.
Crazy times.
Tons of people. Girls would be dancing on tables and music blasting. Well, the late 80s or the 80s. There would be alcohol, pot and cocaine passed around.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
Greg and his friends were known to hold contests with each other over how many girls they could have sex with during the night.
Oh, yuck.
During one of these parties, Greg had scored with 3 women in one night. And there were many stories.
I bet those girls felt really special.
Oh my God, I got to sleep with Greg Smart.
Oh, yes, so did I.
Are you... there was also stories about him and his friend had fucked a pair of cousins in the back of a Cadillac.
Okay.
There was just, sounded like the parties he used to have at Mason's house.
So he thought he was eating a bit.
He was, a bit of a,
Yeah.
Yeah, why wouldn't you? Fucking young, dumb and...
Full of cum.
Yep.
You can say it.
So when him and Pam got married, a lot of people that knew the couple were all...
they'd be swingers.
Well, they were all just pretty much waiting to see how long it would actually last.
Okay.
They were like...
Before he cheated?
She likes to be the centre of attention. He likes to be a party boy. Yeah. They were just like, this isn't going to work.
No.
The couple decided that they were going to move back to New Hampshire to be closer to family. Pam got a job as the media coordinator at the Winnacunnet. Hold on.
Okay. Yeah, you might want to check that one.
There's a lot of letters in it.
Right. Okay, that'll confuse you. If it's got more than 3, you're fucked.
Winnacunnet. Winnacunnet.
Winnicunnet.
Winnacunnet. The Winnacunnet High
Yeah.
School in Hampton, New Hampshire. The couple seemed to have a lot of different interests. Greg was described as always wanting to go out and enjoy himself, go to parties, go hang out with friends, whereas Pam was very organised and liked to set and achieve goals. She was like,
How's it go?
studious.
All you're doing is wigging in your hand around. Going. She was like, like that. Okay, she was a drum leader.
Greg, a conductor, thank you. Greg liked outdoor activities like riding his four-wheeler, snowmobiling and skiing, but Pam preferred just relaxing on the beach. That was her idea.
I'm more a Pam than
Yeah, well,
I know whatever his name was.
Greg liked taking... Oh no, we're a bit delulu.
Greg
liked taking trips to Atlantic City,
where
where
a bit
he
of a
would
gambler.
drink beer and gamble, and Pam didn't like gambling or going on these trips.
Oh well, lost me there, Pam. Lost me there. I would have been.
You
off
love a good pokies.
I would have been off there. I would have been off with him. Let's go to Vegas. Let's fucking crank it up a notch, mate.
Now working with the school board, Pam was earning about $24,000, which is the equivalent of $58,000 now, and Greg was earning around $42,000, which is about $102,000 now.
Mm-hmm.
Wanting to move from their rented condo to owning a house, the couple started saving and soon had at least $6,000 in their savings account, which would be about $14,000 now. The couple and their in-laws eventually came to like each other more. They would go out to dinners with Judy. Judy started doing aerobics classes with Pam.
Go, Jude.
And during the summer, they would go on Greg's dad's yacht, which was called the Bill Me Later. His name was Bill. I thought that was great.
Oh, dear. So they all became swingers and lived happily ever after.
No.
No? Okay. I just got a swinging vibe
There's
about this whole story.
no swinging.
Okay.
On the outside, they seem to have it all. A great marriage, 2 cars, 2 jobs, a fully furnished and decorated condo. But very often, Pam and Greg were still snipping at each other.
What they doing? Snipping at each other.
A few times, a friend had seen Greg again spit beer into Pam's face.
That. He'd be black and blue.
That was his
Little
go-to.
prick.
One friend, Yvonne Pellirin, said, I seen it a few times. He'd have a can in his hand, spit a little beer in her face, and she'd go upstairs all pissed off. That was it. She'd leave us alone for the rest of the night. He could see it coming, and she was getting ready to bitch, and he wasn't in the mood to hear it.
So he just spit beer in her face.
She
should have just headbutted him.
Well, anyway.
First time it'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Next time it's like, fuck off.
Pammy might have deserved it though. Even though they'd been talking about buying a house, the couple seemed to be drifting apart. Pam worked in the east and Greg worked in the west, with most of his appointments being at night, often not coming home before 9 p.m. In their free time, Greg was usually found with his friends playing cards or golfing or going on his four-wheeler, while Pam was doing dance classes or other classes to further her career. Greg would go to parties without Pam and they even started going on separate vacations. Greg would often tell people that if one of them were to cheat, it would be Pam.
Oh, okay. What was that?
But one night, Greg didn't come home until 6 a.m. the next morning.
Ooh.
He told Pam that he'd been drinking and stayed at a male friend's house.
Bullshit.
But later confessed that he had spent the night with another woman.
Amma.
Despite this, the couple stayed together. Not even their closest friends thought that the couple had any serious problems. On the 1st of May, 1990, Pam returned home from work after a late meeting just past 9 p.m. The couple were excited as they had been planning a trip to Florida for their first wedding anniversary. Out of all the fucking states you could go...
I feel like it's a lot longer than 1 year.
They've been married for a year.
Yeah, I know.
Pam walked into the couple's house to find...
Hang on, you've never been to Florida, dickhead? Florida's actually really nice. Yes.
I just think of like...
What? What do you think of?
Look, my reference for Florida is anything that comes out of a true crime podcast.
Well, there you go. See, whereas I went to the space thing and went all around, saw all the nice, beautiful big houses. That's why I went to the movies for that with the where their cinemas have little tables with your chairs.
Oh.
So you sit there and watch. Remember I went with Ron's nephew. No one. He had a bit of brain. He'd been in a car. He'd fallen out of a moving car.
Oh, wow.
And he's passed now. But he,
Oh.
yeah. But no one wanted to go to the new. It was a new Avengers or a new one
I
of them.
remember you, yeah.
And I said to him, I'll go with you. And so he and I went, and it was like their gold class was this tables and chairs, and it was, very comfortable. These little tables like a little cafe.
I'll stop shitting on Florida.
Yeah, stop shitting on Florida.
Pam walked into the couple's house to find the place ransacked and Greg's body lying on the floor, dead.
Okay.
She fled the home. She said because all of the lights in the house were off, she feared that someone might still be inside. Neighbours had heard her screaming and started to make their way outside. Pam was screaming, "Help! My husband! My husband! He's on the floor! My husband's hurt!" Pam had been banging on her neighbour's condo door and they called 911. The medical team went in along with the police. They first felt Greg's wrist, but they were unable to get a clear pulse. When they rolled him over to start CPR, they discovered a bloody hole in the top left side of his head.
Oh, please don't tell me you got a picture of his... What's that?
That's Greg.
Okay. It's a bit hard to see because of the light.
It is. This is a crime scene photo. This is Greg. This is an American. That's Greg.
What's the white in the middle there?
That?
Yeah, what's that? So he's at the bottom of the staircase across the doorway. He's at the bottom of the staircase across the doorway. Just fucking did that. Although, what are all the books on the floor? Did you throw books at someone?
The house was ransacked. Like someone had taken
right. You said that.
everything.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, Pam's
Except him. They didn't take him.
If you like crime scene photos, there is an Instagram page called...
Of course you fucking follow it, you weirdo.
True Crime Mag. All one word. And it's True Crime Magazine. But they have a lot of crime scene photos. Like a lot of them first come up and it's like, warning, do you want to see this photo? But they're quite, they're a lot. So if you like crime scene photos, are you looking it up?
I'm just seeing what was it called? True
Crime Mag.
Oh, yeah, yuck. Oh, no. No.
Nah, yeah, I knew.
No.
So if you do like looking at, some of them are fascinating, like to get
a strong stomach lining.
Even sometimes some of the photos I'm like, oh God, I wish I didn't see that.
Yeah, no thanks. At least this is just him face down.
Yeah, it's just a visual of the house. There's shit everywhere.
Him laying across the back.
Yeah. So police detectives confirmed that Greg was dead and their condo had been burglarized. They first theorized that someone was burglarizing the house, and as there were items near the door to be taken, and Greg may have arrived home and interrupted them. They did note that the scenes upstairs and downstairs were different, which made them think that maybe two people were involved.
Oh, okay.
Pam was obviously devastated and shaken up.
And she was allegedly at work, was she?
She was at a school meeting.
Oh, okay.
A school board meeting.
So she did have an alibi.
Yes.
So it wasn't her.
It wasn't her.
Oh, okay. I was waiting for it to be her.
No. She didn't commit the murder.
That's why you just keep saying it. Oh, okay.
She was shaken up and stayed with her parents. Her mum, Linda, was worried that whoever killed Greg may be coming for Pam, and she didn't want to let her out of her sight.
Fair enough.
The police were apparently not communicating many details with Pam and the family. 7 days later, on their way to the funeral home, Pam and her mother learnt that Greg had been shot to death via the radio.
Excuse me? Okay, so he was shot.
He was shot.
And they heard it on the
Pam,
radio.
his wife, found out via the radio.
Right.
There was a reason that they weren't telling her things. As police started canvassing the neighbourhood, an officer was searching just beyond a hill about 100 yards away from the Smarts' house. He found a very long carving knife jabbed into the ground, which was later discovered to have come from Smart's kitchen. Nearby were some pieces of paper towel, a white plastic jewellery box, and pieces of a cardboard jewellery box. My notes just wasn't really sure where to add this in.
Oh, fair enough.
Their dog, Halen, was found in the basement when police searched the house.
Still alive?
Alive.
Oh, okay.
During the police's interviewing with Pam, they said that she didn't cry enough for a grieving widow. It's like they pretty much nitpicked everything she did in the first 24 hours, which is fair enough. Start from the closest and work your way out. But obviously you don't know how you're going to react when your husband's been fucking murdered.
Exactly.
Like, she could have been in shock. She's not going to cry if she's in shock.
Yeah.
But it's obviously good that they started, they were really pinpointing into her behaviour and everyone's behaviour because you got to. Chief Medical Examiner Dr. Roger Fossman performed the autopsy and ruled that Greg had been shot once in the head. The bullet entered from the top of his skull, slightly left of the center, and then ricocheted within, most likely killing Greg instantly.
God.
Dr. Rogers said that the wound was not clean but torn, a telltale sign that the gun had been extremely close, maybe even touching Greg's head when it was fired.
Wow.
But other characteristics of a shooting were missing. No substantial gunpowder residue was found on Greg's scalp. Lead fragments were recovered from the skin near the wound.
How is there no gun residue?
This meant that the bullet probably started fragmenting before it struck Greg's head. There was also no blood from the bullet impact splattered on the wall or anything really near the body. The best explanation was that the killer had put something like a pillow or towel between the gun and Greg's head.
His own little personal silencer.
Yep. Theories of burglary, gambling debts, and a drug deal gone wrong all floated around, but no theory seemed to stick. Everyone was confused as to why Greg was murdered. Newly married, he was an up-and-comer, co-winner of the Rookie Salesman of the Year award. He was described as an all-American boy with seemingly no enemies. At Greg's funeral, the families were arguing over whether his coffin should be open or shut, what he was wearing.
He was shot in the head, wasn't he?
Yeah, makeup.
Makeup and a bit of bloody polyfiller.
Yeah.
I don't think an open coffin wouldn't have been the way to go.
But pretty much Pam and her parents and his parents and family were arguing over everything. Like what he should wear, what coffin should it be? Should it be open or closed? Should we have these flowers? Like everything was an argument.
Okay.
There had also been a memorial fund set up in Greg's name, not for medical research or a charity. It was to buy equipment for a mass media course that was to start the following fall at the Winnicott High School, where Pam was to be the teacher.
So she set that page up?
She set up a memorial fund to fund the course that she was going to become a teacher on.
Okay.
In Greg's name.
Okay. So he was relevant somewhere.
Yeah. Pam said to a reporter that, quote, "I'll know that Greg is a part of my day, every day. He'll touch the lives of every person who goes through that course in some way. It'll be like a piece of him being there. For me, it was important to find something positive out of this tragedy."
Oh, yeah. Like money.
Yeah. The guidance counsellor from the Winnicott High School had attended the wake with 3 students who'd become friends with Pam and wanted to pay their respects. There was 15-year-old Cecilia Pierce, 16-year-old Billy Flynn, and 17-year-old Vance Latime Jr., who everyone called JR.
Was she sleeping with one of them?
They were just kids at the school. Because she was like, do I say it?
I asked a question. Answer it.
Over the past few months, Pam had been working with Cecilia and Billy on a high school videotape competition.
Mm-hmm.
Cecilia was actually also working as an intern under Pam. They stayed for about 20 minutes and then they left.
Mm-hmm.
Pam was the last to go interview the casket. She wept and threw
Interviews a casket.
into...
Oh, we should fucking articulate. Fucking, I thought you said she interview. I'm like, what? Interview.
She wanted to be a reporter.
To check. I know. That's why the interview. I was like, what'd she say interview for? Okay, she was the last interview.
The casket.
Fucking hell.
She wept and threw herself over the closed casket.
Oh.
She wanted to be last because everyone else wanted it open and she wanted it closed.
Right.
Her family and friends had to lift her up and console her.
Oh, of course.
Pam was now a 22-year-old widow.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
The police captain told Pam, "Please do not discuss the case with the media." He made it as clear as he could that releasing information about the crime could hinder the investigation. He also told Pam, and then also told her dad, "Do not talk to the fucking media."
I don't think that's what the police would have said. And she did an interview with what?
Pam went on and talked to reporters in detail about the crime scene, the overturned furniture, and the items sitting near the door.
Okay, on you, Pam.
They're like, "Do not talk to the media." She's like, "How many TV shows can I get on?"
Yeah.
The captain then made the order that Pam and her family be told no more about the progression of the investigation.
Fair enough.
Pam had told reporters that she had been hurrying to get home and tell Greg that her mass media course had been approved. Now he's funding it from beyond the grave.
It's not funny. Okay. Hold on, Pam.
Just a few days later, on their 1-year wedding anniversary, instead of celebrating, Pam was doing a media interview.
Of course she was.
Some of what she said was, quote, "Well, today is a hard day because 1 year ago today we were married. I remember on that day the feeling that I had and how different in contrast the feelings are that I have today. You know, I woke up with a bright outlook on the day a year ago, facing one of the happiest days of my life and the beginning of our future together. And today I have to wake up and realize that there is no future for us. There is a future for me, but not for us.
Oh.
Sometimes I ask myself, I can't figure out where the strength is coming from, but it seems like it's coming from inside. Maybe it's part of Greg or whatever that's helping me to go on with everything.
Greg's not inside you anymore, sweetheart. That's finished. That's done.
I feel like if this happened at any point in Greg's life, it would have been fair. Oh, sorry, it wouldn't.
It would have. Wow.
Sorry.
Do you want to reread that one?
It wouldn't be fair and it wouldn't make sense then. It's just an awful tragedy and now, you know, there's no better time in his life for this to happen. And that's one of the
things. There's a good time in
There's no time in anyone's life. Unless you're 104, great, go out.
Exactly. My God.
And that's one of the things that I think is keeping me going. That if Greg was here right now, he would be saying things like, life's not always fair and you have to take what happens in stride and move on and move forward. You know, it's awful to just think about what happened in there. The only comfort I have is that it just seems to have been a situation where Greg didn't know what was happening. He just never knew, you know, and it was really quick. The police have very little to go. She's still talking.
Did she stay in the house?
He's just died. Calm
That's what
down.
I'm saying.
We're only to that part. You know how long this fucking script is?
Oh, no, I don't.
It's like 30 pages long.
Oh, is this the one you did?
This is the one I've been doing all
okay.
fucking week. The police had very little to go on, and at first they were finding out in every... Is this still part of her quote?
No. No, it couldn't be. She wouldn't be quoting the fucking police.
Quote done. So the police had very little to go on at first and were fanning out in every direction to get a lead. They were handing out flyers with photos of jewelry that had been stolen from the Smart's house, which included earrings, bracelets, rings, and a gold chain of Greg's that had a little charm that had the letter P on it. Someone also named Greg Smart called the police because he believed the murder may have been a case of mistaken identity, as he had recently been at odds with dangerous people.
Oh.
One of the neighbours in the area had a criminal record for violent behaviour and they were checked out. A gang in New Jersey had been arrested on weapons and drug charges. They were suspected in a number of other crimes, such as a killing in Haverhill, Massachusetts. Items had been confiscated from them during the arrest, such as several handguns that could have been the type that killed Greg. The gang had apparently been trying to steal enough bail money to get their leader out of jail. None of these leads went anywhere in regards to Greg Smart. The police then started going through Pam and Greg's telephone records. They found that Greg had been making calls to a gambling junket service that supposedly had ties to local organised crime. There were lots of theories connecting Greg's gambling, that he had attended parties that had drug dealers, and even a theory around an old girlfriend that he had gotten pregnant. He apparently refused to help pay for an abortion, and the ex-girlfriend's father said something like that he had a good mind to go shoot the kid. But also, like, how long ago was it when this happened to now? One by one, each of the leads were checked and then dismissed. It seemed like Greg's case was going to go cold. But then, on the 14th of May, Detective Dan Pelleter got a call from a woman who did not reveal her name. She told them that she had heard something the police ought to know. Quote, his wife planned him to be killed so she could collect the insurance money. And he was killed in the home, and she came home and put on a wonderful performance. The person you can talk to about it is a minor. This caller told the detectives that he wanted the full story. He should go speak to 15-year-old Cecilia Pierce.
And who's Cecilia
You might recall the student, Cecilia Pierce. You fucking goldfish.
How rude.
She was Pam's intern at the media centre.
Yeah. I was more focused at that point in your conversation on the two boys. I was waiting for you to say she was rooting one of them and a 15-year-old killed him out of he'll end up with her scenario. I thought it was that old chestnut.
It is that old chestnut.
Oh, there you go. See? Yeah.
Oh, there's Pam crying at the funeral.
What's this? Is that
That's a
Oh,
flower.
Rose.
I think that's her sister.
I thought she had a fucking baton and they were playing with the band.
I was a cheerleader. I'm going to do a performance at Greg's
That's what it
funeral.
looked like.
So that's
She
her
enjoyed the
mum.
fucking circus.
What do we got? That's Cecilia. Cecilia.
You're breaking my heart. Anyway, go
Anyway, so Cecilia was described as a talkative kid who was embarrassed about her weight.
on. Oh, she didn't look that chunky.
Cecilia adored Pam. When she talked to her, it was as if she listened and really cared. When Cecilia mentioned to her that she wanted to go into journalism one day, Pam told her that she should come work for her as an intern. So Cecilia...
Free labour.
Yeah, pretty much. So Cecilia would go over to Pam's office for 2 periods and get school credits for helping out with things like the school board newsletters. Cecilia said that she looked at Pam like an older sister, a confidant, and a role model. When Cecilia started to learn how to drive, Pam would let her drive her car. Pam would take her out for lunches, hang out at the beach. Pam even sometimes went to teenage dance clubs with her.
Oh, God.
Cecilia,
Bit creepy, Pam.
Yeah, Pam's a bit of a fucking weirdo. Cecilia even became a little bit too possessive of Pam. She would go out of her way to sit next to Pam, and if someone else got there first, she became visibly upset. Her lifelong friend Karen mentioned the idea that she might like to become Pam's intern the next year. Cecilia... What?
Did you fart?
Ages ago.
Something just really stinks. Smells ripe in here. I thought I'd either shoot myself and I don't know it, or you've been at it again. Oh, God. Anyway, so poor old Pam and
I think a furball is...
Karen and...
She floated the idea by Cecilia that she might want to become Pam's intern next year. Cecilia became angry and accused her of trying to steal Pam from her.
Oh, no.
So the next character is Vance Latime Jr. or JR.
Okay, let's look at JR. Oh, God. Really?
Everyone would hang out at his parents' house.
Uh-huh.
The house was a mobile home that backed onto the woods.
Of course it did.
JR and his friends...
Were creepy?
JR and his friends would be found working on junk cars, roughhousing, or setting off fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
JR wore thick glasses,
Yeah, he did.
which he'd had to wear since he was pretty much a toddler.
Oh,
He had the old thick glasses.
old Coke bottles.
He devoured books and loved being under the hood of a car and enjoyed figuring out how things worked.
Mm-hmm.
His parents liked having the kids around because they figured if they were at home, then they weren't off somewhere else getting in trouble.
Yeah, fair call.
Then we have Patrick Pete Randall. Look at the hair.
He doesn't look as like he belongs in the group. The others look like kind of loners. He looked like he was sort of more...
Well, JR and Pete had a strong bond. They might as well have been brothers.
Okay.
Pete was described as innately intelligent, had a passion for reading, writing, and he liked
arithmetic.
And he liked math. He was a die-hard and loyal friend that was handsome and clean-cut looking. Beneath there seemed to be an anger and violence if he was pushed too far.
Okay.
Some people knew that one day Pete would end up behind bars if pushed.
Is that this one?
Yeah. He was described as not going to win any most likely to succeed awards. He had a disrespect for authority, gave out an air of constant arrogance, and as a kid you'd look at him and think, punk. And then Billy Flynn. Billy, his mother, and his 2 younger brothers had only moved into the area in the past couple of years. His mother moved them out there during her divorce with the boy's father. Not long after they moved, Billy's father died. In the book that I read, the first part was like Billy's father died. Later, it went into how Billy's father died.
Oh.
Billy's father, Bill,
Oh, God.
had been out drinking all night when he decided that it was time to drive home.
Oh, as you do.
He was doing about 80 miles per hour, which is about
That's 160 Ks.
128,
Really? Doesn't
Yep.
sound like it's enough.
according to Google. He was going fast down the freeway.
Mm-hmm.
One exit from home when a car pulled out in front of him.
Oh, gosh.
I'm sorry, but if you see a fast car, why are you pulling out? You shouldn't be doing the fast car thing anyway. But why would you... Anyway.
Yeah.
He swerved to avoid a collision and ended up smashing into the back of a gasoline tanker, carrying nearly 9,000 gallons of fuel.
Did it kaboom?
The rear tanker and Billy's car roared into flames.
Bet it did.
When the flames were finally put out, Bill could only be identified by his teeth.
Wow.
So that's how Billy's dad died.
Oh, poor Billy's dad.
Billy was described as a dreamer who liked to doodle cartoons and taught himself how to play the electric guitar. Billy was known to exaggerate about himself and his life. He told people that his dad had been a biker, his dad owned a motorcycle, and that he had $250,000 in a trust fund for when he turned 18. He did have a trust fund, but it had about $24,000 in it, which would be about 58 now.
Still not a bad fucking start.
Yeah, not $250,000 though, and your dad was a
but
biker.
Still, you'd be happy with 20-something grand when you were 18, wouldn't you?
Billy's mum, Aline, said this about her son, quote,
"Lying little prick."
Outside of the family, people saw a kid that was polite and charming, and that was one side of Billy that he projected to people he wanted to impress. He wanted to be liked. Inside the family is where he took out his anger. At home, he could be whatever he was feeling, and most of the time, he was feeling like a prick.
Oh.
It was funny, your choice of words just before they called him a prick.
prick.
He would wear a black leather jacket and an earring and was known to run with the tough guys.
Oh, you go, Billy.
But almost anyone that actually knew Billy said he was about as threatening as a golden retriever.
Aww.
So the boys were a tight-knit group. They were described as being full of teenage bravado, smirk, and swagger. The background music to their daily lives was Van Halen, Guns N' Roses, Poison, and Motley Crue. They were also quite trusted by their family. JR and his friends were comfortably trusted to watch his baby niece.
Oh, okay.
His mum remembers a time she'd stepped out and left a baby... Oh, niece? I think it was a nephew. It was a baby, about 2 years old. 1 year old.
God, make my fucking mind.
It was a toddler.
You've got it written in front of you. You don't have to make shit up.
I have baby niece, but then I said that she stepped out and left baby Ryan with the boys.
Okay.
So I think it was... When she returned home, she found the house blasting Motley Crue. The boys, including 1-year-old Ryan, were pumping their fists in the air shouting, "Cure, cure, cure."
No, a 1-year-old would not be doing that.
He would get in there. But on the
bullshit.
But on the other hand, people in the community thought of them as punks.
Punks.
They were developing a nasty reputation as small-time thieves, stealing bikes, breaking into cars, and stealing their radios. JR and Billy found themselves helping with the Project Self-Esteem, which was the drug and alcohol awareness program ran by Pam Smart.
Oh, Pammy.
The program obviously influenced the boys deeply. After school, they would all drink together and snort cocaine.
Oh, with Pam?
Not yet. Pam, being only 21 while working at the school, most of the boys' hormones kicked into overdrive when they saw her.
Really?
She was attractive. Billy made sure to be in Pam's group when the class split up into smaller groups to work on a task. During this, Billy learnt about Pam's passion for Van Halen and her time as the DJ Maiden of Metal. Wicka, wicka. For years, the Florida Department of Citrus had been running... Citrus, didn't fuck that up, had been running a high school video competition. Kids around the country would make a commercial for the nutritional value of orange juice to win prizes, including a trip to Disney World.
Oh, yay.
Pam decided it would be a fun project for some of the school kids, and Cecilia got to putting a group together. Billy, who at first thought it was lame, quickly signed up when he found out Pam was running it.
Of course he did.
The group would meet regularly to work on the project, including after school and Saturdays. Billy's mum remembered seeing Pam for the first time and said, "Aha, now I know why he's involved with this commercial, even on his weekends." But sadly, their video did not win the competition. At some point, Billy had mentioned that his mum's landlord / their upstairs neighbours owned a 1-hour photo shop. So Pam and Billy drove to the store so she could get some photos developed. When they got back in the car with the photos, she opened the envelope and showed Billy that the photos were her and her friend Tracy posing in bikinis.
Oh, okay.
In what was described as a variety of poses mimicking the kind found in men's magazines.
Okay.
The next day, she told Billy that she and Tracy didn't think that they were very good and he could have some if he wanted them.
Oh, she's a little minx, isn't she? Oh, okay.
They were the photos. That was one of them, but...
Yeah.
Here, I'm your fucking teacher.
Have a picture of me in my underwear.
Yeah. Not long after this photo thing, Pam called Cecilia into her office and, like a schoolgirl, said, Cecilia, sit down. I have to tell you something. I think I'm in love with Bill.
Bill, that little dweeby
The
kid.
15-year-old. On the 5th of February, as usual, Billy was skipping his free study period to go hang out at the media centre with Pam. Pam asked Billy, do you ever think of me when I'm not around? Billy said, sure. And Pam said, well, I think about you all the time.
Ugh.
Billy's fantasy about his hot older media centre director was unbelievably coming true before his eyes. Billy then had to walk back across the parking lot to get to class.
With the chub.
Yes.
He would have been walking like a little tripod.
The 21-year-old could stay in her office while the 15-year-old had to walk back to class.
With the chub.
With a chub. During the next several weeks, Pam would tell Billy about her horrible marriage.
Oh.
How unhappy she was.
Oh,
how
Pam.
verbally and physically abusive Greg was.
Oh, poor Pam.
And of course, this made Billy hate Greg.
Oh, of course he did. That was the idea.
Well, yeah. Pam also added that she didn't want to be with her husband. She wanted to be with Billy. But divorce was not an option, as Greg would get everything they owned and she would be left with nothing. Don't think that's how it works when you're married.
No, but a 15-year-old kid probably doesn't know that.
Yeah.
Which is what she was doing.
One day, Pam and Billy were at Billy's mum's house, apparently meant to be working on the project for the media centre. Billy had locked his bedroom door and the two of them laid side by side on his waterbed, while in the background Motley Crue's Starry Eyes came from his CD player. This is how the conversation went between the 21-year-old and the 15-year-old.
Okay.
Pam, well, are you going to kiss me? Bill, yeah, I will. Pam, well, what?
Just out of curiosity, how do you know that's how the conversation went? No one else was in the room.
Well, then, according to Billy, this is how it went.
Well, Billy sounds like a bit of a tool.
Or Pam, I don't know. Whole trial. Anyway, this is all in a book. Well, when?
You didn't touch my boob.
Do I have to come over there and rape you? Billy said,
What?
Yeah, jokingly. And then they kissed.
Then it was on like Donkey Kong.
They didn't really keep their relationship much of a secret around his friends.
Oh.
Pam would drop Billy off at his friend JR's house and would kiss him goodbye.
Creepy bitch.
Pam and Billy were also trying to organise a time that they could spend the night together.
Oh my God.
Pam told Billy about the movie 9.5 Weeks and the scene where Kim Basinger seductively
fridge.
dances for Mickey Rourke. Rourke like fork.
Rourke like fork, yes.
Pam said that she'd
You
always...
want to see a picture of someone that aged like milk? Have a fucking look at him.
Oh,
Have a look at him in 9.5 weeks or whatever it was called. And now,
Mickey
my God.
Rourke. Oh.
Hair. That's aged like milk, yep.
Oh, no. Oh.
Yep, that's him. He's the one who had a go at JoJo.
I was
in
just
the
going to
house.
say, is that, yeah. Oh.
And did you see the before photo?
Yeah.
Yep, there you go.
He was hot and now he looks like milk.
Elephant Man.
Milk. Warm milk.
Yeah.
Ugh. Anyway, God, Mickey Rourke. Whatever. Milkman.
Mickey Rourke fork.
Pam told Billy that she had
Really?
always longed
I will always love you.
to do...
Ooh.
She always wanted to dance like Kim Basinger had danced for Mickey Fork.
For fuck's sake. Fork.
But until now, she had had no one to do it for.
Except a husband of 12
Yeah, not
months.
her fucking husband.
Yeah.
So one night in February, around Valentine's Day,
Oop, oop.
Pam had Billy and Cecilia come over to her condo while Greg was on a ski trip. She thought that having Cecilia there would make it less suspicious. You're 21 and you have two teenagers staying over your house. It's still fucking weird.
Yeah, very.
Pam had also been talking up how shit her marriage was to Cecilia as well. They watched some rented movies, then Billy and Pam went upstairs to the master bedroom and Pam took Billy's virginity.
Oh, dear.
Because he was fucking 15. Cecilia was awkwardly downstairs like, do, I can't hear anything. While taking Billy home the next day, she told him that sadly, that would probably be the last night that they could be together, as Greg didn't often go away. Pam pulled the car over and they were both crying at the idea of their relationship
Oh my God.
not being able to move forward. Pam said that they had no other choice. The only way they could be together...
She played this kid like a fiddle, didn't she?
She fucking did. The only way they could be together is if Billy killed Greg.
Oh, there you go.
At first, Billy didn't believe her and that she was just angry and wasn't actually planning to carry out a murder plot. So Billy was now balls deep in his teenage boy fantasy.
I don't feel that would have been anywhere that you researched.
He was balls deep in his teenage boy fantasy.
That was not in any page
was
that
having...
you researched. Balls deep.
I throw my own sentences in here. I read and summarise.
Okay, balls deep.
He was now having an affair with his married hot teacher. They were having sex in his bedroom, at a park, in the back of her car, at the beach. Although they weren't super secret about their relationship, Pam told Billy not to tell anyone. But of course, Billy could not help to brag that he was fucking the teacher.
Of course he would.
To his best friends, JR and Pete.
Oh, and then they thought, hey, hang on.
Hold
we can get a bit of this.
Pam would even occasionally buy drinks and hang out with them, and she would bring Cecilia along, and they would drink wine coolers.
What a cool teacher.
What a cool chick hanging out with the 15-year-olds.
That's creepy as fuck.
Every day, Billy was coming past the media centre to hang out with Pam, and every day she would bring up the plan about killing Greg. They came up with endless possibilities, but Pam liked the idea of making it appear as if Greg had interrupted a burglary. Each day they defined the plan more and more. That Billy should hide his hair in a pigtail to make identification more difficult. That, of course, he had to get some gloves.
Why did he have to put his hair in a pigtail?
Because he had long hair, so if he tied it up, they wouldn't be like, they had long hair. That he could tear the place apart and take anything that he wanted. Although Cecilia usually had class when Billy had his study period, and Billy had class when Cecilia had her media periods, Pam would keep Cecilia up to date on the plans.
As long as she got a regular period, that's the only one. It's the only one that was a worry at this point.
Up to date on their plans that her and Billy had made. So like her and Billy would have a little meeting, and then Cecilia would come in and be like, Cecilia, this is the new update on the murder plan.
God
They're
almighty.
fucking 15.
Yeah. They were going to hide your secret.
Every now and then their schedule would line up and all three would sit around the media centre planning Greg's murder.
Oh, poor Greg.
Pam made sure to cover every detail that she could. She instructed Billy to put the dog in the basement once he got into the house, as she didn't want the dog to possibly act strangely towards him if the dog witnessed the murder.
Oh my God.
A weird little tidbit. One of the classes that Billy and RJ took was the Crime and Punishment course. It taught kids the overall view of the American legal system. The class used to run through a mock trial. The scenario for this year was that a group of animal rights activists were upset with the science department for the use of fetal pigs for lab work. The people who were pretending to be the killers would kill off one science teacher at a day. This usually involved informing the science teacher that they were now dead and putting a paper cutout outline of a body on the floor. The two that volunteered for the positions of being the killers were Billy and JR.
Oh, had to get in a bit of practice somewhere, didn't they?
One afternoon, Pam told Billy that they were going to carry out their plan that night. Pam had a school board meeting and she knew Greg wouldn't be home till around 9. Billy ended up just not doing it as he didn't have a gun and he didn't have a car because he was 15.
He didn't have the balls.
He was 15. He didn't have a fucking license yet.
Could have walked there. Could have gone on his pushy.
Around 10 p.m. that night, Billy called Pam at the media centre and told her that he couldn't get a gun or a car. Pam told him,
Man up.
You don't love me. If you did, you would do this for me. It's the only way we can be together, and if you love me, you'd want us to be together.
Yeah.
She went on and told Billy, I know you're never going to do this, and you don't have any intention of doing this, and I can't go on seeing you like this when I know we're never going to be able to really be together.
Oh,
That's it. It's over between us.
Power of the pussy.
And she hung up the phone.
Power of the pussy.
The next day at school, she apologised to Billy and told him not to worry.
There'll be another staff meeting next month.
There is another late night school meeting soon, and he could kill Greg then.
Yeah, come on.
By this point, Billy had persuaded JR and Pete to help him kill Greg.
Oh, my God.
They told them that they would be able to take anything they wanted from the house, and once Greg was dead, Pam would move and they could have another spot to hang out.
Oh, well, there you go.
Pam was planning to buy a Trans Am, which, look, I thought that was a radio.
It's a fucking car.
Fucking car. I know that now. I Googled it. But I think I'm thinking like
she was
a
going to buy a radio so they could all what? Sit around and kumbaya? What the fuck is wrong with you?
I was thinking of like Brown Eye Girl when he says a transistor radio.
Okay.
Trans Am, car, not a radio. She was planning to buy a car, Trans Am, with the insurance money that they could drive Greg's truck and his four-wheeler.
Oh, laughing.
At this point,
sounds like everyone's winning at the moment except poor old Greg.
Yeah, it's a win-win-win-win-lose situation. This is the point of the story where we now enter our fourth teenager, Raymond Fowler.
Is he a new one?
He's a new one.
God, he looks like he's about 30. How's he a teenager? He's got more of a mustache than you.
That's hard as well. My luscious upper lip. So, Raymond was one of the boys...
Is the child still asleep?
Hopefully.
Okay.
Raymond was one of the boys' friends' cousins.
Okay.
He was around JR's house and one day heard Billy's pitch about how much cool shit they could get after killing Greg. Raymond was described as a tough kid, inarticulate and slow. Very slow.
Okay.
Raymond was 18 years old and had just come out of Rockingham County Jail after doing 4 months for charges of receiving stolen property and conspiracy to receive stolen property.
Oh.
Billy had asked Raymond if he knew of anyone that had a gun, and Raymond was like, yeah, there's one at my house because my late father was a cop.
Oh, God, okay.
Raymond was pretty keen on getting in on the plan, mainly due to taking whatever he wanted from the Smart house. He just got out of fucking the prison for stealing shit. After Raymond and Billy searched around his house for a gun, which they later found out had gone to his uncle's for safekeeping, they decided that instead of shooting Greg, they would just slit his throat.
Okay, tough guys.
Now that they had the weapon sorted, they needed a car. After not being able to obtain one, the group settled on that Pam would just leave her keys in her car ignition and they would take her car. Around the middle of April 19...
Why did they need a car?
I think it was a little bit of a distance.
Oh, okay.
Like you couldn't just walk.
It sounds like they were there regularly. It didn't sound like it was that far.
Like because Pam was like driving them all around and shit.
Okay.
Around the middle of April 1990, Billy, Raymond, Pete and JR and another friend all went to a Motley Crue concert.
Oh.
And then Billy and Raymond got dropped at the school's media centre. They took Pam's car and drove it to her house.
So
also,
the neighbours would have seen the wife's car. They would have spotted
her fucking car.
How stupid was that? She was fucking dumb. You've lined up these two schmucks to take the blame for you.
Yeah.
But here, drive my car.
Doesn't make sense.
Dumbass.
Also, when they turned the car on, Black and Blue by Van Halen started playing on the car's radio. Pam would put the tape that Billy made her into her car, so when they turned it on, he would hear it.
Had a little mixtape going, did he?
Billy knew the way to Pam's house, but while driving there, something in his head told him not to go through with it. He pretty much pretended like he couldn't remember the way. He was taking different turns, and they ended up finally at the condo at around 10 p.m, and they saw that Greg was now home. They turned around and headed back. When they got back, they told Pam that they had gotten lost, and by the time they got to her house, Greg was home. Pam asked if she could see the gun they were going to use. Billy told her that they couldn't find a gun, so they were going to use a knife instead. Pam complained about how much mess that would cause.
What, she was scared she was going to have to clean up, or?
Yeah.
Clean up on aisle 6, please.
Pam dropped Raymond home and then was en route to drop Billy home when she started in on him. You knew the way. You got lost on purpose. If you loved me, you would do this because you would want to be with me. She explained to him that there was only one more school board meeting for the school year, and that's when he had to do it. The next morning in her office, she complained to Cecilia about everything the night before and that she could hardly believe the boy's stupidity. So this time, in their marriage, great, like they were okay. Like they were kind of doing their own thing.
Yeah.
But they had planned to buy a house together and they had been talking about having a kid.
Oh, okay.
So like it was kind of shit, but I think it was one of those, maybe a kid will fix things, like that kind of relationship. In the weeks before Greg's murder, he did start casually mentioning to his friends that he'd probably be divorced by the summer.
Oh.
He'd even started talking more to one of his longtime friends, Terry Schnell, Once him and Pam had started dating, he pretty much had to cut off all his female friends.
Mm-hmm.
He'd been speaking on the phone more to her and catching up with her. Terry remarked that he seemed like the old Greg again. One night, Greg went out with Terry and a couple of other friends for a drink. He told Terry that after he got divorced, he would take her out on a date.
Oh, how romantic.
On the last day of April, which was a Sunday, Greg called Terry to see if she wanted to have breakfast together. Terry unfortunately was already on her way out, and after talking a little on the phone, she said goodbye, and this was the last time she ever spoke to Greg.
Oh, shit.
Eventually, JR and Pete decided to join in on the final murder attempt on Greg. Billy was doing it for love, and the other three were doing it because Pam said they could take whatever they wanted from the house and promised the boys $1,000 each from Greg's life insurance policy.
Jesus Christ.
Greg had a life insurance policy which was for about $140,000, which is about $342,000 now. But thinking of everything, Pam didn't want it to look suspicious that a large amount of money came out of her account right around the time that her husband was murdered. She told the police that they could have $500 each and then $50 a week afterwards.
Oh,
She'd...
God almighty.
A point of contention during their murder plotting group chats was how to actually kill Greg. Pam wanted him shot, but JR, Pete and Raymond thought the knife would be better. It would be quieter than a gun and harder to trace. The boys planned to use JR's grandmother's car, and Pete had made the executive decision that they would stab Greg using whatever cutlery they could find in the house, but JR was also going to bring his dad's .38 caliber as backup. During the week before Greg's murder, he went out of town for work. During this week, Cecilia stayed over at Pam's place to do work, go to school, do some driving lessons and hang out, and Billy also stayed over for a couple of these nights.
I bet he did.
The three drove around a place called Hood's Commons, with Pam pointing out to Billy where he should park the car for the murder.
Oh, okay.
The 1st of May 1990 started as normal for Greg. He left for work around 9 a.m. and then took the afternoon off as he had appointments later in the evening with clients. He then went to his parents and saw his younger brother and his baby niece and then headed home. And then headed to his afternoon appointments. By the time he had finished seeing his last two clients of the day, it was about 8:30 p.m. That morning, Pam caught Billy at his locker and let him know that the bulkhead doors were unlocked. They're the big, the basement doors on the outside of a house.
Yep.
You see them in movies, there's always someone kidnapped down there. But it's all I can think of is they're in the basement. Break the chain down there.
Yep.
Bill, JR and Pete had all caught the school bus to JR's house. When they arrived, they realised that JR's grandmother had forgotten to drop off her car for him to borrow. They called Pam and she drove them to his grandma's to get the car and then came back.
Oh my God.
JR also had grabbed his dad's gun.
This sounds like a lot of fucking work.
Just get divorced.
It would have been a lot easier than
would have
going
been.
through all this bullshit.
Pam and the boys went through the plan again and asked to see the gun. Pete again asked if they could just stab Greg. Pam replied, "I don't want to know the details, but why don't you just use the gun? If you stab him, it's going to get blood all over the place. And whatever you do, don't get blood on the sofa."
Oh, okay, Pam. God almighty.
The three boys got into JR's grandma's car, picked up Raymond, and then headed to the Smarts condo. They parked the car and Billy and Pete started to walk towards the house. The accounts of what happened next is only from Billy and Pete. They had brought a duffel bag with a different outfit and an old pair of sneakers, which they would wear for the murder and then throw away. Then they went to the Smarts condo, entered through the basement. Oh, no.
What?
They entered through the bulkhead doors. Step one was get the dog.
Yep.
Halen barked and growled at the boys and eventually they caught him. They laughed about how when they threw the dog into the basement, they heard thump, thump, thump as it tumbled down the stairs.
That's not funny.
Just picture it. Bum, 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 bum.
You're an idiot.
The boys then started ransacking the house and putting whatever they wanted to take with them in a pillowcase. Around 8 p.m., Sergeant Vincent Byron of the Derry Police Department's Detective Bureau was driving home with his wife and kids and took a detour through the Hood Commons parking lot. He quite possibly drove right past JR and Raymond sitting in the car waiting for Billy and Pete to come back from murdering Greg.
Oh.
Also around this time, Greg's friend Dave was at the Hood Commons, and since he was in the neighbourhood, he was going to pop in and visit Greg. But when he drove past the condo, he saw that Greg's truck wasn't there and continued home. The boys were running through their plan again when Greg's truck pulled into his parking spot. Greg Smart walked into his home and was ambushed by the teenagers. Pete rushed to Greg, and in one violent motion, he grabbed him by the hair and slammed the back of his head against the wall. Greg pleaded with them not to hurt him and asked what they had done with the dog. Billy told him that no one has hurt the dog. Greg told them to take whatever they wanted. When they demanded his jewelry, especially his wedding band, Greg said, "I can't give it to you. My wife would kill me."
Little did you know, Greg.
Your wife planned this.
Your wife was killing you via these two.
Yeah. Pete couldn't go through with slitting Greg's throat, so he gestured to Billy to use the gun. Billy cocked the gun, put it 2 to 3 inches from Greg's skull, and pulled the trigger.
Jesus, that's a ballsy move, isn't it?
15!
To get that close to
Yeah.
someone and actually pull the trigger.
Although the forensic evidence showed that Greg was shot at close range, but remember I said there must have been something in between? There was nothing at the scene, and both boys denied using anything, which is weird. But apparently there was a towel nearby, so I don't know if they just maybe, I don't know. As soon as the shot was fired, the boys were out the back door and running. They got into the car and screamed at JR to drive. During the drive home, the boys changed and threw their murder clothes out the window as they went, and then they dumped the duffel bag in the woods.
Just in the street, just...
Meow, meow,
Oh,
meow.
that was stupid.
The boys then drove to Raymond's house and started going through the pillowcase of stolen goods, which apparently was just shit. Costume, jewellery, nothing worth a pinch of shit they took. The phone call to the police had come from a young woman who had... so the phone call started this. She had worked with Cecilia at a pizza restaurant. Mm-hmm. She had overheard her speaking about her friend who wanted her husband dead, and then when she heard the news of Greg Smart, she knew she had to say something. Apparently Raymond had started also bragging to people that he and his friends had been involved in the murder.
Oh.
This guy. Old Mustache McGee. All of their parents found out at the same time, and Billy, JR, and Pete all decided they would flee the state. One of the people that Raymond had blabbed to was Ralph Welch. He ended... What?
Just sounded like something from The Simpsons. Ralph Welch.
Ralph Wiggum is from The Simpsons. He ended up having a fight with Pete and ended up telling JR's parents that they had used their gun to kill Greg Smart. JR's parents and Ralph had all gone down to the police station to give statements. By this point, the boys had made their way to Connecticut, where Pete had family. Pete's mother had been too scared to tell his father about the murder, and his father had called his grandfather in Connecticut because he noticed that his car was gone. He told Pete that if the car was not back by 9:30, he was going to contact the Connecticut State Police. Dad didn't know anything about the murder. He's just like, bring my fucking car back.
Yeah.
So the boys got back in the car and drove home.
Oh, God.
Derry police had called in Raymond for questioning, and he had told them everything except his involvement. He told that, well, he didn't, like, he sat in the car.
Yeah.
Still, you're involved. You knew about the plans. He told the detectives that he was just in the car with the boys going for a ride and had no idea they were going to kill Greg. He only knew about what happened when Billy and Pete jumped back in the car, exclaiming that they had killed him. When JR had returned home, his mother was standing in the kitchen sobbing while his father was pacing around yelling at him. He started to explain that Billy was having an affair with Pam, and then his father shouted, "Then it's a good thing she didn't gangbang all of you. What would have you done then? Wiped out the town of Derry?" When Billy returned home, his mother told him to get rid of anything and everything.
On you, Mum.
Yeah, that looked bad. And Billy put everything that tied him and Pam Smart in a bag and gave it to his mum to get rid of. After all their interviews and collecting evidence, the police had arrest warrants for Billy, JR, and Pete. And on the 11th of June, 1990, they were all arrested. So, like, he was murdered on the 1st of May.
Yeah.
And then the 11th of June, they've got
6
enough.
weeks.
Well, yeah, everyone kept blabbing, though.
Mm-hmm.
Pam was in panic mode and was calling everyone trying to get information. She eventually ended up on the phone with Police Captain Jackson. Pam said to him, "I'm afraid. I know these kids. Am I in any danger?" To which he replied, "No." Pam then asked, "How do you know?" And the police captain said, "Because I know, and so do you."
Oh.
After the arrest of the boys, Cecilia was struggling. She couldn't sleep at night thinking that the police were going to come arrest her too. Cecilia cracked and took her mum to her bedroom and told her everything she knew.
Oh.
Cecilia and her mum then went to speak with detectives and filled them in on the missing pieces of why Billy killed Greg. Captain Jackson then organised for Celia to do a one-party consent telephone tap. On the 15th of June, Cecilia was to call Pam and say that the police were coming around and had more questions for her, and the stress of lying was killing her.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, the conversation was of no use because Pam was already suspicious that police had bugged her phones.
Oh, okay.
The next strategy was that the detectives used a face-to-face one-party inception. In other words, Cecilia was going to wear a wire. On the 12th of July, Cecilia met Pam at her office during the day. The start of the conversation started off rocky with Pam telling Cecilia that her lawyers had told her to be cautious because the police might bug Cecilia. They continued talking, and probably there's a whole fucking transcript. This is the thing that I found interesting. Pam. Oh, she just talked like such a fucking... And like, oh my God, I know. And, like it was just every other word was, and,
Oh my God, okay, yeah.
Even if, say, they have a note or something with me and Billy, then I'd have to admit that, yes, I was having an affair with Bill. I'm never going to admit the fact that I asked, that I told him, that I hired them because I never paid them money. I think I've been a very good friend to you, and that's the thing. Even if you send me to the fucking slammer, or you don't, or if anybody sends me, it's going to be you. But what good is it going to do if you send me to the fucking slammer? Don't think it's the end of your problems if you confess. No, because it's going to be your whole family's going to be like, fucking, well, you knew about a murder? How could you have lived like that? Cecilia had done a fine job, but detectives needed something more concrete if they were going to be able to arrest Pam. The following Friday, Cecilia met up with her again. She sat with Pam and they talked, and Pam wouldn't stop talking. The detectives were smiling in the van as they listened to the conversation as Pam was incriminating herself. Cecilia wrapped up with Pam after about an hour.
Oh, God.
She went back to the detectives and they hit play on the tape, and there was nothing.
Why?
It hadn't recorded any of it.
Oh, no. How's that possible?
Thankfully,
okay,
the police were sitting in a van listening, and the machine that they were listening through, they could get the audio from that.
Oh, okay. So they were close enough to pick it up on that.
Anyway, she incriminated herself. If you want to look up the transcript, go read the book in the sources, but she pretty much...
Well, you can post it on the page, can't you?
Yeah, I'll do that with the...
God.
It's very long,
Okay.
and it's back and forth, and she pretty much like, well, I wasn't... She pretty much says, well, I didn't do it. They did it.
Yeah.
I'll just read you some bits of it. Again, the book is in the show notes. So Pam said, you didn't have anything to do with anything. And even if, say, there's a note from Jenny or a phone conversation with me and Billy, then I'd have to admit that, yes, I was having an affair with Bill. I'm never going to admit the fact that I asked, that I told, that I hired them, because I never paid them money. I never hired anybody. It's just all little things that she kind of shoots herself in the foot. Like Cecilia's trying to be like, oh, they're trying to get me to do a lie detector test. And she's like, well, just lie. Just pretend you didn't know anything. And it's like, know anything about what, Pam? Like, she just says little things that they're like, yeah, we've got you. The detectives were now so cocky that they were on the verge of arresting Pam that they had printed out a picture of her and stuck it up in the office.
Oh.
They took a quote that she had said in a report, which was, I think about what our dreams were, and those things will never happen. But I'm still alive and I still have dreams. I will try to go forward and do those things.
Mm-hmm.
Under this quote, someone had written, wrong, guess again. Another cop had drawn bars over her face with the words, New Hampshire prison across the top.
Wow.
On the 1st of August 1990, exactly 3 months after the murder of Greg Smart, Detective Daniel Pelletier went into Pam's office. He told her, quote, well, Pam, I have some good news and I have some bad news.
We've caught the killer. It's you.
The good news is we've solved the murder of your husband.
Yay.
The bad news is you're under arrest.
Yay.
She said, what for?
Rot roll.
He replied, 1st-degree murder. Stand up and face the wall.
Bitch. Oh, no, they can't
Smacked
say
her
that.
head into the wall. Pam's trial was widely watched and gained considerable media attention, partly because it was one of the first in the US to allow TV cameras in the courtroom.
Oh.
She faced life in prison if convicted. People were lining up as early as 4 a.m. to try and get into her trial.
Wow.
The boys had been through discussions on whether to try them as juvenile or adults.
They're fucking adults. If you kill someone, fuck off.
Juveniles, they would spend a couple of years in an adolescent detention centre.
No.
If they were tried as adults, they would be facing life in prison.
Yep.
Going into 1991, it was released by the Rockingham County Superior Court that Billy, Pete and JR were going to stand trial as adults.
Good. So they should.
Then, on the 22nd of January, the boys decided to cut a deal with the state that they would testify against Pam for a reduced sentence.
Mm-hmm.
In the end, the boys got Billy was sentenced to life imprisonment for second-degree murder.
Wow.
Not eligible for parole for 40 years
Oh.
with a 12-year minimum.
How old was he?
15.
So,
Like, yes,
55.
they did kill Greg,
Mm-hmm.
but it was like, that was so, like, they wouldn't have if it wasn't for Pam.
Yeah,
But then they still murdered someone.
they
It's a
still-
very,
Exactly. They were manipulated.
with the 12 years of minimum sentence deferred if he maintains good behaviour. He was incarcerated at the Maine State Prison where he earned his GED, was active in charity work and worked as an electrician at the prison.
Okay.
After serving 16 years in 2007, he sought a sentence reduction, stating that he vowed not to do so. So he vowed not to ask for a reduction until he had spent as many years behind bars as he had spent free. Billy's earliest parole eligibility date was reduced, making him eligible for parole in 2015.
Okay.
On the 4th of June 2015, Billy was released from prison with a lifetime parole. Billy was a farm boy sitting in a city bus.
All right, McAllister.
Pete also received life in prison for second-degree murder.
So hang on. So he's out in 2015.
Yep.
Okay. Did you
So
follow up?
he's the one that
Did
shot
that?
Greg.
Yeah.
Pete was...
He's the one that was rooting the teacher.
Yeah, he's the one that was fucking the teacher. Pete was the one that was in the house with him that slammed Greg's head into the wall.
Yep.
He also received life in prison for second-degree murder, eligible for parole after 40 years with 12 years deferred, making him eligible as early as 2018. Like Billy, he was also had his minimum sentence reduced, and on the same day as Billy, Pete was released on lifetime parole.
Okay.
JR was charged as an accomplice to second-degree murder, eligible for parole after 30 years with 12 years suspended. In 2005, his minimum sentence was reduced by 3 years and he was released on lifetime parole that same year. So he got out in 2005.
Yeah.
He drove the car.
10 years earlier than them.
Raymond, who was also in the car, was sentenced to 30 years for conspiracy to murder and attempted burglary and parole eligibility after 15 years, and he was paroled in 2003.
Okay.
He went back to prison a couple of times. He broke his
did
parole.
he?
Yeah. So,
What about the girl?
I think she didn't get anything, so I don't know if she got some sort of immunity for like being wired up and stuff.
Telling them, yeah.
After a 14-day trial in the Rockingham County Superior Court, Pam Smart was found guilty of being an accomplice to first-degree murder.
Accomplice. She's been guilty of being the bloody
she didn't-
brains trust.
Yeah, well, she didn't pull the trigger.
No, I know she didn't, but she fucking did
There's
everything
more.
else.
Accomplice to first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and witness tampering.
What about pedo?
Oh, yeah.
She should have been arrested for being
Wow.
a pedo as well.
The conviction was largely the result of the testimony of her co-conspirators and the secretly taped conversations. Without those tapes, I don't think they would have got her. So I'm assuming Cecilia got something for that.
Yeah.
On the 22nd, and Cecilia wasn't there. She was just like, she
No, that's
knew
right.
about
She
it,
knew it was going to happen.
but she
or
wasn't in the car. She wasn't in the house.
No, that's right. But she could have stopped it.
Yeah. But then,
And she's got to live with what they ended up doing anyway.
Yeah.
So she's got her own demons.
on the 22nd of March 1991, she was given the sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole. Pam is serving her life sentence at the maximum security Bedford Hills Correctional Facility for Women in Westchester County, New York, where she was transferred in 1993 from the New Hampshire State Prison for Women.
Mm-hmm.
Although she maintained her innocence, she conceded that her husband would still be alive if she had not had an affair with Billy.
No, if she had not got Billy to kill him.
She would have just got someone else,
That's
not
right.
Billy.
You could have rooted whoever you wanted.
In October 1996, Pam was severely beaten by two fellow inmates.
Have you got a picture of Pam?
I've got it.
Oh.
She sustained a fractured nose and a broken eye socket, which resulted in the insertion of a plastic plate in the left side of her face.
Jeez.
She's made multiple attempts at getting a sentence reduction and all have been denied. The most recent one was on the 11th of June 2024.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Pam gave a videotaped statement where for the first time ever, Pam accepted the responsibility for her husband's death by asserting that she should have seen the signs with regard to her allegations that Billy's actions were of his own volition. So she was like, I should have seen the signs that Billy was going to do
You
this.
shouldn't have been a pedo and stayed away from little boys.
Yes. And that is the case of Wham Bam, thank you, Pam. Smart.
Oh, feels like hours ago since you started with wham bam, thank you, ma'am. God.
I knew this was going to be a long one. This took This took so long to research and put all this information, and I didn't even bother reading her mum's book. I just thought,
so old Wham Bam's still in jail.
Wham Bam, thank you, Pam, is in jail.
Okay, so you're going to become her pen pal?
Speaking of that, when I sent your cryptic ass message, people, listen to me. You can't just send someone a message.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm going to quote it word for word.
Okay.
You shut up.
Didn't say a word. And if I did, you'd cut it out anyway when you edit it. So
our last communication on Saturday was at 5:04.
Mm-hmm. Prior to this message.
Yeah, 5:04. We did the video chat.
Because I was going to say, it wasn't a...
Nearly 2 hours later, out of nowhere, you just wrote, "Is it you?"
Yep.
That's all you fucking wrote.
Yeah, because I was watching the news.
And then I was like, "Is what me?" And then you wrote, "Martin Bryant's pen pal." I said, "Oh my God," laughing face emoji. No, I wish.
They showed him in jail. They showed him in jail in the background, and it said he's got a pen pal.
He's got a little girlfriend
apparently.
pen pal who is. Hold on, I screenshotted.
Oh, you went and searched more, did you? You're a bit jelly.
This is from a Daily Mail article. I screenshotted a section that said, he added that he wasn't sure Bryant's mother still visited him and that the killer would speak frequently about a woman he claimed to be in a relationship with. The woman is said to own a horse property in Victoria.
Oh, okay.
And was one of the 10 people approved by the jail service to have phone calls with Bryant. See, he's got a lot of restrictions around who can contact him, which is why I'm putting my tinfoil hat on and I'm starting to believe some of the shit that Jay tells me, that it was all a fucking conspiracy. Even Sam Newman or something on his podcast has brought up this stuff. It's just so weird how many people have not been allowed to have contact with Martin Bryan. Anyway, he's also former inmate Jackson, who was cell neighbours with Bryant.
He was on the news last night, I'm pretty sure.
Have bleak accounts of his condition behind bars, describing him as untidy, dirty, and suffering from acne. The mass murder is reportedly now so large, he sleeps on 3 10-centimetre thick mattresses stacked on top of each other on his tiny cell bed, which he rarely leaves. He also has a reputation for previously giving sexual favours in return for chocolates and sweets.
Oh, he's making the most of his time.
How many fucking sexual favours is he giving out to be such a fat cunt in prison now? He needs 3 mattresses. How many blowjobs are you giving?
He did look quite large behind the thing, but then it's been how many years? 30?
Nearly 30. It was like 3 days after I was born.
Yes, exactly. So, yeah.
But to get that fat in prison, how many balls are you licking to get fucking Snickers?
When it came up on the news, pen pal, I went, it's probably Megan.
Well, I was researching this case and I'm like, what do you mean is that you? I thought someone was like knocking at your door.
Oh, is that you at my door? Because I won't just get up and answer it.
Or check your camera.
I'll just, or look at my phone.
Is that
go,
you?
Oh, there's a camera at the front door. It's Megan. Only one who came to my door last night was the Coles delivery van.
Oh, we had the Woolworths delivery guy today.
The little Asian lady.
Anyway, thank you for listening to the story of Pamela Smart. We will
went a little bit off topic at the end there.
We will cover Martin Bryan. He is obviously a very big case to cover. I didn't realize how fucking long this case was going. I thought it was... Yeah, as I kept researching, I'm like, fucking hell.
Well, you should do it sooner than later now that we know he's got a pen pal and he's a fat
And she's
dick
in
licker.
Victoria. Let's find her.
And he's a fat dick licker. As you just said, you said, how's he lick?
I said he licked balls for Snickers.
Oh, same difference.
How much deep throating did Martin Bryan have to... It's like the joke of how many electricians does it take to change a light bulb? How many dicks did Martin have to suck to get a fucking Mars bar in jail?
Oh, as long as it wasn't a Morrow.
Oh,
Oh, I've got one of them at home.
anyway, thank you
Anywho.
for listening. Follow us on Instagram at mainly_murder. Email us if you are Martin Bryan's pen pal. Email us. MainlyMurderPodcast
We'll talk to you
at gmail.com.
in private. We won't tell anyone.
We're
We'll
in
keep it to
Victoria.
ourselves.
We could hang out. We could.
Oh, yeah.
I would
Go
fucking
visit.
hang out with that chick. She'd be cool.
Oh, my God.
Anyway, we'll see you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.